The comments and views expressed on The More Show are those of the people that make them and do not necessarily reflect the view of Kevin Moore, The More Show, or this radio station and its affiliate or sponsors. This show is for entertainment purposes only.
Broadcasting from the UK and across the world online. You're now watching The More Show and I'm your host, Kevin Moore. Now for the next hour, I'll be covering subjects that will open up your mind and provide you with information you may have never heard before. Now on today's show, I'm about to be joined with my guests, Deirdre Hade and Will Arntz. Now Deirdre has been an artist and a visionary, writing poetry and conversing with the mystical worlds. As a founder of Radiance Healing and Meditation, Deirdre has guided people worldwide, teaching them to harness their own inner wisdom and healing potential. Now, Will Arntz started his professional career as a research laser physicist, working on Star Wars high-energy lasers. He then moved to writing software, writing a program called AutoSys, which is an automated job control system currently in use by Fortune 500 companies. He then sold that company, retired, and decided to make a film, creating and producing and directing What the Bleep Do We Know? Now they both join me today to discuss their latest book, The Not So Little Book of Surprises. Deirdre Hade and Will Arntz, welcome to the show.
Thank you. We're so happy to be here.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for joining me. Okay, well now this interview is based on your latest book, which is The Not So Little Book of Surprises. Who wants to just start off to begin with, just to talk about the synopsis of the book?
Well, the book is a collection of wisdom and really, prophecy about the times that we live in, the times that we're moving into that have been given to me from the archangels, the ascended masters, different beings of light that have visited me and spoken to me since I was a very young girl, probably 3 or 4 years old. My husband, Will, who made What the Bleep Do We Know, took different pieces of information from volumes of this discourses that I'd received and put them in a book that he felt was very, very important for humanity to really understand these concepts that the light beings wanted us to hear about so that we could make it through this very tumultuous or changing times.
Right.
That's really the gist of the book. Will, did you want to add something to that?
Well, that's the words of the book. But being a filmmaker, I often associate the visuals with the words of the audio. So we worked with photographer Endre Balogh, who had 3,000 photos laying around, and I started working on associating these quotes and these clips and these poems with pictures. And that way the book is something more than just, you're not like reading a book, it's kind of more of an experience, or it's kind of like a movie you can hold in your lap, because the pictures really take you somewhere, and the pictures and the quotes, the sayings, they work together in a certain way that is surprising, which is the title of the book, The Not So Little Book of Surprises, because sometimes the pictures, you look at them and you go, why is that there on the page with what she's talking about? And then about 20 minutes later you go, oh, I get it. Oh, that's great. So it's really a book of the words and the pictures, and they combine to become more of an experience than just sitting reading a book.
Okay, now these pictures were not channeled pictures, they're not inspired pictures, are they?
Well, that's
They are
a very good
inspired.
question. They are inspired. Now, Endre, the photographer, he is a concert violinist. He was soloing with major philharmonic orchestras at the age of 8. So he's a child prodigy on the violin. He actually owns a Stradivarius that he plays. And so there's someone who's an artist at that level. They're always inspired. Is it channeled, or are they just inspired by the light? And so some of the pictures that he took, it was almost spooky, because there would be this quote, and I'd be looking through his photographs, and it's like, oh my God, this is the perfect one for that. And some of them I said, Endre, why did you take this picture? It's such an odd picture, and it's perfect. And he would say something like, oh, I don't know, I just thought it would be a good picture. So we're back to the whole thing about artistic inspiration and where it comes from.
Right,
And then
absolutely.
The other thing about the photos is Endre's been working with me for many years. I'm a healer. I created Radiance Healing, which is a form of light energy work. And many of these pictures or photos I asked him to create, or images I asked him to create, to hold an energetic. Like one of the photos is an energetic of our supreme divine self, of the energy body that includes not just the chakras, but the tree of life and the Merkava and the flower of life. And this is a very powerful image to meditate on, because it will allow you to align yourself with your higher self based on the sacred geometry. He also, there's several sacred geometries through here that are angelic presences. In my visions of the angels, I've drawn pictures of them, and he turned them into photographs. We have the 4 archangels, we have Metatron, and they're very beautiful pictures, and they also are very powerful to meditate on. Again, there's an energy and a frequency that comes from the photos into you when you're looking at the book.
Actually, let me go straight to it. You were saying there in the interview that this information was brought to you by what you classed as, maybe use the word, light beings. Is that just one type of entity that you're in contact with, and who are the light beings?
Very good question. I say the light beings because it's just easier than invoking the names of all the different energies that are here to help us. Since a young child, I've been visited by and have seen in physicality these beings of light that beam themselves in. And from my understanding of what they've given me, is that they are here to help humanity, help us wake up right now, help us not destroy ourselves. We're going through a time of transition where the gates between this reality of the third dimension and the realities of a different frequency are beginning to merge. So we really are at a time of a spiritual renaissance, even if the news doesn't portray that. We are in a time of a spiritual renaissance. More and more people are communicating with the beings that are here to help us. I meet them, I hear them, I see them all over. Even the conversations about, are there aliens? Are aliens coming? Many of the aliens that we talk about, or people do talk about, really are partly angelic, or they've been written as angels because they come from somewhere else.
Well, that's funny you say that. It's funny you say it, because the last interview I was just doing prior to coming onto here was someone that was having abduction experiences, and he referred to them all the time as angelic experiences.
That's right, because we're in a time of misunderstanding of our heritage and of who we are and of these other universes. So the whole alien, abduction, angelic, it all has gotten put into one basket. And the aliens that I'm very aware of that are here really are angelic presences, and they are coming and they are activating souls. They are helping souls to remember who you are, giving you the experience of heaven, the experience of oneness, of unity. And I wouldn't really call it an abduction, because our soul says yes to that. If we were to say no, they couldn't interfere. But when the soul says yes, they say, here, I want to give you a deeper experience of your humanness. And the human experience was meant to include the angelic or heavenly experience also. What has happened is we don't have those experiences anymore. So we get lost, we feel angry, we get addicted to war, because we're not having those experiences of what I call the light.
Okay. Will, I'm not going to leave you out here. I'm going to come back to you. What you were just saying there as well was really fascinating. Let's go a bit deeper here. You use the word light beings, but that's, as you say, that's just a word. That's just a word to associate something that we're not even too sure. Even yourself is too sure really what that is, in the sense that the reality could be quite different. It could be greater. It could be beyond our understanding at this current present time. Right? It's like saying, really, in a sense, what is God? Well, God is a dog spelt backwards. It's just a word. But to understand the presence of that word and what that really means is, again, it's a learning curve all the way, isn't it, throughout life, to really define our own truth. We are here defining our own truth, aren't we? That's what it seems to be. So
that's exactly.
Yeah. So maybe what you're bringing forth is, when you say the light beings, could you also go down the road that they could be levels above levels? They could be a few dimensions above where we initially go to when we cross over.
Yes, I'll go ahead and include who I work with as far as light beings go. I work with the Elohim, or the creators. They have given me a great deal of knowledge. Again, the archangels, there are 12 archangels that are the architects, or the creator beings that help create our world with the Elohim. And when I say that, I'm not saying that there isn't one God. I'm saying that the presence of all that is, it's beyond our understanding, created out of itself these creative energies.
Right.
And these creative energies created the planets and the stars and the colors and the myriad of wonderments that we have. So that's why we call them the creators.
Okay, so why do they care so much? Why do they care enough to come through you, to come through others? What is that purpose for? And let me add to that as well. Are we doing things that do we always do things the most difficult way?
I would have to say yes. I think we do things the most difficult way. But to answer your first question, from what my understanding is, that they are here to help us because they are we are us, meaning they're an aspect of our multidimensional self. If you could imagine that you're here, you're sitting here, you're in your body, that's a part of you, but if you could stretch your imagination that you also have a you that is an angel, that is one of the creators, that is God, that is part of all that is. We are an aspect. We say that we are the broken part of heaven because we're not perfect. And so these beings, because we are part of them and they are part of us, they care so much because they want the part of themselves that have broken to heal. And we're here on this planet to heal. That's why we're here. We're here to heal the brokenness of ourselves.
But how desperate were we to come down here in the first place to have this experience, though? I mean, when you say that we're here to get healed, where we come from, that this reality maybe that some people call heaven, maybe I call it home. If I was so desperate to come down here, was I healed before, or have I just re-healing myself now because I've chosen to have this human experience because of whatever I'm getting, whatever my soul and the collective group or whatever levels above levels of infinity that are going to, heal from what I'm about to go through as well, if we say that everything is connected? I don't even know if that's a question. I'm just, this is just my truth, yeah.
It is a question, and what I'll say is that many different people come here in different stages of their own soul's evolution. It's not like one's above the other. It's just, some people are here to learn to be an artist. Some people are here to learn to write. Some people are here to say in this lifetime I'm here to wake up. Other people are here to really give service to the world. I would say for you personally, what I see is that you chose to come here from a state of wholeness and knowing to help our world go through this transition. So you're very much a helper, like an angel of service, to waken up consciousness, waken up people's thoughts, to be able to see a different way of viewing our reality that's more holistic and healthier. And I also see for you that in being here, when we come into this world, we get like hit on the head. We get this amnesia. And you decided before you came, I know I'm going to get some amnesia, but that's okay because I will find my way back to my knowingness. And in doing that, you are lifting up the unconsciousness of the world to become conscious. And that is what healing is to take something that is unconscious or unaware or just reactive and make it conscious,
right?
Make it aware, make it thoughtful.
Well, I really want to go to. Well, I'm not ignoring you. I swear to God, right? I'm gonna get. I want to ask you a question in a minute. But what Deirdre's saying there, so deep. Okay. Now I can resonate with what you're saying there. I'm like, yeah, what she's saying, it makes a lot of sense. Again, that's just your truth, isn't it? And everyone's allowed their own truth.
Everyone's allowed their own truth, and when because I have a sight that I can see people's souls or into people's souls, past life, future life,
right,
where you are in the angelic world. When I just say to you, this is what I see for your soul. Yes, you can take it or leave it.
Okay.
It's not a dogma. It's just this is what I see.
No, it's beautiful.
And really, it's
right.
Good.
Yeah.
If it doesn't.
No. I'm really touched, and by what you're saying, it makes a lot of sense. But are some souls just switched off completely? Do some souls choose to be switched off so that those around them have the experience of being switched off as well, so that they never really look at these subjects because what they're here to learn is something quite different to what we're here to learn? So when we say, it's about the ascension, it's about waking up, Christ, this could go on for 1,000,000 years before we reach the pinnacle of what we think could be a better earth, right? So what I'm saying is that is there not deeper reasons that actually everything's in perfection, even though it's in chaos, it's still perfection?
Absolutely. It's a paradox. All truth is a paradox, meaning in this moment, with the chaos we have, it's as it's supposed to be. It's perfect. And in this moment, with the chaos it's supposed to be, we still we are beholden to make right what's wrong, or to serve justice,
right,
to to end hatred, war, and intolerance. So it's a paradox. And sometimes when we say, oh, it's perfect, the ego mind interprets perfection different than the soul. So the soul's definition of perfection is more in the line of, in the present now, accepting what is in the present now is how we attain inner peace. So that as we take action to make our world better, we come from a place of inner peace. And that inner peace is translated in many lexicons that I see as, we're always in a state of perfection.
Yeah.
Because the perfection is the acceptance of right here, right now, this minute, my foot's bleeding. And in fully accepting the now, we can find a peace in that disruption, but I'm still going to go put a Band-Aid on.
Well, could you also say as well that what you're bringing through, okay, so they're beings of light, maybe there's council elders that you're connecting with, maybe all sorts of beings that you're able to connect with, because that's part of the gift that you've got. We all have this gift where if we just tuned in, actually we can connect to that greater part of ourselves. Would you be able to say, though, that maybe what you're connecting with is all aspects of your higher self as well?
Yes, it is all aspects of my higher self, and for whatever reason, I came in and I recently found out that I had a traumatic head injury as a young child, and part of my left brain is not operating. I also had an overdose as a child and left and came back. I didn't call it an NED experience until now everybody talks about it, that happened to me. I never really paid much attention to it. But after that happened and I had that head injury, I started having these experiences of the other worlds quite visually, viscerally. It's part of my everyday life. And so what I say to people is, well, I got hit in the head. So these windows opened, but everybody has them. And part of my purpose and the purpose of putting together the not-so-little book of surprises is to just help anybody open those gates. Because in the beginning of the book, I say there's a path to God, there's a path to peace, to joy, to bliss, to knowing yourself. You already have this path inside of you. There are keys, and the book is basically a set of keys, esoteric keys, for your soul to unlock doorways to have these experiences. We've had people look at the book who have said to me, I've had epiphanies, I've had awarenesses I've never had before just by looking at one page and reading one passage. I don't even necessarily know what happened, but something clicked. Yeah. And that is the magic that is in this book.
See,
and by the way, it's a little book. It's, how big is it? 9 by 11. 9 by 11.
9 by 11. Right. Okay. Well, it's got some beautiful images in, and one thing you are doing right is both of you're living your passion. And when you live your passion and do that which you love, it's a natural side effect of being of service. So no matter how we try to understand how this energy from this book is transferred into the people that it's going to help heal, it's their own personal process, but as you say, it does work, right? You've just it does. So thank you for that, by the way. Going to Will as well, and Will, sorry that I've I've not ignored you there, right? But I really, it's a pleasure to speak to you as well, because your film What the Bleep was a great movie, and we could go on just for a show just to talk about that movie if we had the time. How from everything that we've just spoke about there, does that fit into the movie as well? What some of the subjects that we've spoken about?
Well, it In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. The movie with the bleep, there was a lot that I talked about science and how science was saying some things that when you take it out of context of science sounds crazy, like entanglement, that we're all connected, we're all one. But that's something that the mystics and people like Deirdre have been saying forever, that we're all connected. So there was a certain thing about that, but this book sort of goes off in another direction, in that it's basically looking more at the mystical. You know, what the bleep was sort of giving a scientific basis to a lot of the inner experiences we have, and the book sort of goes beyond that now and goes just directly into the inner experiences. And the idea is that when the doors open, like Deirdre talks about, and you have these insights or perceptions of other worlds, we're saying, look, don't question yourself that you're having these experiences. Go in and have the experience, because my take is that people are really longing for that now. The scientific age has run its course, and it's brought us cell phones and everything else. And people, I think now there's a change, and people are really looking towards energy healing, the other dimensions. People are kind of done with 1 + 1 = 2. They're sort of into 1 + 1 = everything. So there's been a change, and so for me personally, I've moved more towards understanding those other dimensions than sort of looking back over my shoulder at equations.
Yeah, absolutely. And with you being with Deirdre as well, I mean, it must have, for both of you must have had so many aha moments, on the journey that you've both been on. I think it's fascinating when two sort of spiritual people come together, and what can come out of that space as well still, because you think you may know it all, but guess what? it's ongoing. Do you know? And I still think that when you cross over, you only cross over with the truth that you have. And I don't, for me personally, I don't feel that there's anything above me that's going to say, right, there's the book, Kev. They've got it all wrong. They've given you the wrong books, but there's the right textbook, and this is the truth and the only truth. I think that when you cross over, you're still making your truth up. I think where dimensions above dimensions are still making their own truth up, probably channeling to each other to try to figure out what this is, but without the need for war. Just love.
Yeah. I mean, I think that once the dimensions change, sort of like you said, all the truths were like, well, that's kind of a truth when you're in the 3 dimensions in the physical world, but
right.
when you go to the other world, it's like, well, it's kind of that way, but really, I mean, I often think about gravity, the force of gravity, and gravity is this weird thing that every energy and mass in the universe is attracted to every other energy and mass in the universe and is trying to get as close to it as it can. I mean, okay, that's the physical, that's Newton, we know about the dropping of the apple and stuff. But when you think about that, that is so bizarre to me. That is so bizarre that happens. Every particle in the universe, there's a little electron on the other side of the Milky Way, and that's exerting a force on us. I mean, that's just wacky crazy, and yet that's the way it is. I hope, at some point, when you go into the 5th dimension, you may say, oh, that's as simple can be. That's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. As you pop up to different levels, truths, they're probably relative to what you're looking at. I mean, isn't that relativity? So, yeah. There's, or as they say, there's many truths.
Yeah, there's many truths. There's many doors. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, from this book as well, there's something in this book about the law of attraction, the law of manifestation. Could you touch on that? I mean, is that something that you feel is within the book as well? That actually these are quite a creative process.
Yes, and I speak about the law of attraction in the sense that when you, me, anyone, when we are in alignment with our God self, with our soul, we really do get our superpowers back. We get our magic cape. And that is the law of attraction, because the law of attraction, it's working all the time because we have a gravity, but it doesn't work for us the way it can work for us. And I don't mean in the sense of manifesting just material gains, because that's like the kind of the base level, but I'm talking about manifesting one's own cosmic inner sun, to really become the fullest expression of all that is that you can become. And that's very exciting, and that's a very exciting moment when we feel it.
Yeah, I think what I was trying to tune into in that question as well, just relating this to the book, is that actually what the times that we're going through now, for me it feels like, is that it's allowing people or forcing people to go into their passion, because people are so fed up with governments, with the way the world is right now, and it's almost like the mirroring of this is saying to people, well, guess what, the government was never in charge of you in the first place. Nothing's in charge of you. Yes, there's laws and there's certain things like that you have to adhere to in this reality, but guess what, you're in charge of your reality. So if you want to change the world, you ain't going to be able to do that unless you change yourself. Live your passion, you emanate that to everyone around you, and that helps change the world or heal the world.
That's exactly right. That's it right there. And if I may, one of the messengers in the book is Mary, or Mother Mary, and this was a quote that she spoke to me that I shared with at one of the retreats that I gave, one of the gatherings, and I would like to share it because
Please.
She asked me to share it.
Please.
So it goes like this, and she's saying to us, the gates of your reality are opening. You are entering into the age of the mystical, the rebirth of mystery. Here you will begin a sojourn home. Thus I, who have traveled with you, protecting you, caring for you, guiding you. Lest the seed of your magnificence be lost, I have a path to bring you home, a path to return you to your brilliance. For I am but a particle of myself in this physical world. My true self lives in the grand mansions of light, our home, where you once walked beside me as one of the great shining ones, star beings, angels of light, radiant ones, shining through the galaxy. My light of hope is upon you as you journey in search of a way back home. For you are my children, and I am patience.
It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And yeah, they're always there, aren't they? They're always there.
They're always there.
Yeah. And isn't it incredible that when, look, even if you're not into these subjects, which most people watching this will be, but if there's someone watching this who is, on the borderline, if you just realize that how much in your life have you really been guided by your intuition, that greater part of yourself, that side that always know, that side that when you don't listen to it sometimes, it's always coming from fear then, and you're going on the wrong path. If only you'd listened to your intuition. We don't, do we? And that's that God spark in us, if you want to call it that. That's that connection to back home, that intuition, isn't it?
Absolutely. And intuition really lives in our body, and part of what we're here to do now is to really learn how to embody ourselves, can get out of the head that we're always thinking. But, we think thoughts, and our brain talks, our mind talks. Do this, go there, we ruminate. But there's a way to descend your consciousness down into your body to where you feel another kind of thought, a different kind of thought. And that nonverbal thought is intuition. And it's closer to our soul and closer to source. And when we listen to it, when we learn the skills of listening to the inner depth of our being, we are on the right, that's when the wonderment and the magic starts to happen. That's when our dreams start to come true. That's when things just show up. That's when the law of attraction is the yummiest. We're just in the great river, soaring through the great river. But it takes really descending into our body, being still, being quiet, and listening for a different kind of voice.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know whether yourself or Will might want to answer this, but do you find that some of the information coming through in this book is information that's been told before in a different way, but the reason it comes through again and again and again and again because we never listened in the first place?
Yes, I'll let Will answer, but I would like to answer this too because I'm the author. This book, what I tried to do is take deep truths that have been spoken many ways and have been given to me by these incredible, loving beings, but put it in a way that we today could understand it and have some humor with it, and understand because we're different than we were a few thousand years ago. We're not riding on the camels. We're in cars. And so some of the passages in here are actually retranslations of the Psalms out of the Old Testament. I talk about Yeshua or Jesus. Yes. I talk about that. And everything in this book is connected to a lineage of truth. We need a new vernacular, a new way of discussing things because it's fresh, it's alive, and also it just keeps us motivated. Because sometimes when we read into text, we're like, well, that was nice back then. But what about today? So Will's going to read something to you that is his quote.
Yeah. Now, and part of it, I mean, the joke around the house is if Deirdre had chosen what would be in this book, the book would be talking all about the light beings and how you're radiant ones and just a very lofty, very pure sort of thing. But because I picked them, there's a lot of what I would call sassy quotes in here.
Right.
That are not, that's part of the Book of Surprises is that, a lot of these things you've heard of before, but they're just put in a way that you've never heard them. And that, to me, when I was pulling the quotes out, that's what really intrigued me by something. And Deirdre has shall we say, a sassy side to her at times. And she gets in front of students, and sometimes she just lets it rip. So I'm going to read one. There's a picture of a duck, a mother duck with all these ducks behind, and it goes like this. That mystical world, that's where we find the light, but it's also the chrysalis of coming undone. If you're going to embark on a journey of coming undone, you damn well better have your ducks in a row because it could be like splat on the windshield. Now, you've probably never read about splat in the windshield in the good book, but that's something where, to me, that really stuck out because it's so true. Yeah, if you're in the chrysalis of coming undone, you're opening yourself to other worlds, you're getting these realizations. I mean, your life goes into chaos. It's like splat on the windshield. So what she's saying there is you need to have a practice. You need to have something, maybe a teacher, maybe a practice, maybe your morning cup of tea. Who knows what it is? But you need to have something there so when your world comes apart, you don't just get fried.
So important.
Again, that's not how they put it in a lot of the quote-unquote, spiritual books, but I think this book is really something for our time where we just, we're talking just directly to people. Hey, do you want to be splat on the windshield? So that's my take on that.
No, I love that. Well, actually, who's your spiritual mentor then, in a sense?
Well, I mean, these days it's Deirdre. I mean, we are married and we're around each other often, and one of the other jokes around the house is you never know who's going to join in on the conversation.
I love it.
Yeah, because we'll be talking about something, and she'll get that funny look, and she goes, "Well, you want to hear what Metatron has to say?" And it's like, "Oh, sure. What am I going to say? No." So that's kind of joke around the house, but that's really these days. That's it, and Deirdre and I will often talk about things, and she'll tell me something, and I'm like, well, I don't know, that doesn't make sense to me, and we'll develop it and that sort of thing.
No, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful that you've got that connection as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously you two were meant to have met, I'm sure with free will, and there's a lot of healing going on there together, which is a beautiful thing. Well, okay. With the book as well, one thing I've started to notice doing this show and doing more and more interviews is that there is a younger generation of people right now waking up as well. Now, I know since you did the Bleep, that was a few years back, you must have seen a change. Do you see this younger age group coming in as well that are fully awake and fully wanted to be of service?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got to tell you, one of the big reasons for this book is it's really a book for them, because when you see people now under 30 and under, I mean, no one's reading big fat thick books.
No.
It's the age of the Instagram. It's the age of the picture. It's the age of the tweet. So really, this book is done in part in that style, where someone can just pick it up and read a page or two or three and put it down and walk away and come back a week later. So it's really done that way. And furthermore, there's a bunch of passages in the book talking about the younger generation and their coming. There's one thing where Deirdre says, yeah, they're coming here as service, and we need to prepare the way for them because they are of a high frequency, and if we don't set it up right for them, they'll just spin out and go away. We have to prepare the way for them so they can come in and do the work that they came to do.
Yeah.
Right, honey?
Yeah, and also, well, my son is 17.
Right.
My daughter's 23, and I know all their friends, and one thing I've experienced, and another reason we made the book the way we made it, is that I don't want to say you all out there who are coming in have these incredible quick minds, and you absorb. See, the older generation, we have to plod along and dissect things, but you absorb, because you're energetic, you're aware of energetics. So I said, well, I'm going to make a book for the ones who absorb, because that's a whole different way of learning. And we're having an issue now in school because they say kids are ADD, ADHD, all try to medicate everybody, but that's because you have a different frequency and you learn differently. You absorb through experience as opposed to plotting and plotting. That way was our generation and beyond, but you absorb, you're energetic, and that's why this book was written, to be an energetic book, and also to give you the validity that you already know. You just need a few lines to open the door to your own depth of wisdom. One of these, I would just want to read this quote, because this was really, gave a teaching about, I work with a lot of people from addiction. I had my own issue with addiction when I was younger, with an eating disorder, which I was, through the angels of light, able to overcome. And but this one I wrote because this is really what I see with today's wanting to experiment with lots of different drugs. There are some drugs, plant medicines that really can be of service, and then there's others that can kill you. And what I see with addiction is that souls are trying to find the light and connection, but going down the wrong road. It's because you have this experience of euphoria, which simulates enlightenment or light, but it's false. It's not true. And then you get addicted to needing that euphoria, and it can take your life away. So this quote I'm going to read was, I really feel for everybody in our age of addiction to just kind of wake you up and say, look, you're trying to do the right thing. You're trying to find the light, but there's a methodology to it. There's steps to it. There are no real shortcuts to it. And then you want to go the right way, because if you go into the light on an alternative path, such as a drug, this is what's going to happen. So it goes like this. I say, you don't just go, boom, you're enlightened. That doesn't happen. It's a series of experiences, and they build. Because that big one, the big kahuna of enlightenment, if it comes too early, you're toast. You're toast. You're in the psychiatric ward, or you leave your body. Time to go. Oh, I'm in the light. Yeah, but you lost your body. So you go to the lords of karma. Oh, I went into the light. And they're like, yeah, well, you big dummy. You dropped your body while you were doing it. That wasn't the plan. You were supposed to keep your body. So back down to earth you go. Next time when you go into the light, don't leave your body. And then we have this incredible picture of a toaster on fire.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and that's so important. The aspect of addiction. I think you see it in young people as well, but there's so many forms that addiction can take place as well. Right, and it's not bad. It's just the path that won't take you to where you want to go. We're all trying to get home. Exactly. We're all trying to find connection. And some paths to finding connection end up being very harmful in the long run. And so I just want to steer people in saying there's another path, the path of awareness, path of connection with people. There's another path to take that is really going to take you where you want to go. And that's the spiritual path. That's the knowing your own inner connection to your own source. Yeah, so true. And that is, oh my God, that's the most powerful point to get to, isn't it? When you get to that, when you can connect to it, trust it, and it's not brain science, it's just really just going within. Even if it's meditation, it takes you to get into that space, or just listen to your intuition, however you do it, it'll never let you down. All answers lie within, and you have the power to manifest the life that you want now. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think with your book as well, if you're not having the best of days, because, life's a hill, it's ups and downs all the time. There's nothing, it's not going to ever be perfect. But you can open this book. It's like this is one of these books you can open, and, whatever page you open, whatever quote you're going to come to, it will be the right one for you in that moment. That's absolutely correct. That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt that for the book, most definitely. Well, look, we're almost out of time, and we've barely got through any of the questions here. So, where there's a website for the book, Will, is that right? Yes. You want to give the Book of Surprises? Yeah, it's bookofsurprises.com. Bookofsurprises.com. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Yep, excellent. That's really straightforward. That's the website that's been coming up on the screen throughout this interview, along with the book as well. What would you say? I'll go back to. I'll stick with you, Will, for a minute. What would you say then, for yourself, is the most important message of this book?
Well, it's sort of the important message du jour. On this particular du jour, I would say that the message is hope. Because right now, especially in this country, a lot of people are very upset or not hopeful or, concerned about the election and sort of on both sides of the fence. There's, a lot of turmoil going on, and, you read the news nowadays and people are still blowing people up, and there's a lot of things that just make it look like we're going down the drain. But the book is really hopeful. Within it is there's ways in which we make ourselves and the world better. There's light coming in. There's guidance coming in, and so I think for me the like I said, the message du jour is hope.
Okay, and just one other quick question. I'm putting this in as extra, really, but as you say, when you see the craziness, you don't always see that we're actually, moving forward. Would you say, though, that there's light within the darkness?
Well, the infamous quote, it's at the dead center of the book, and this is one that it's the only pages in the book that don't have a picture in. It goes like this: the darkness serves the light if you are conscious. The darkness is just the darkness if you are unconscious. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that's very deep. Well, again, come up to the truth, what you think that means yourself, but it's pretty obvious to me as well that there is light there. Okay, let's just get... let me ask the same question as well in regards to the most important message of the book to Deirdre as well.
Thank you so much. And I'll just say that this quote was given to me from God over a 20-year period, meaning during a very dark time in my life, God spoke directly to me and said, the darkness serves the light. And God said, study this. And then another 7-8 years, God said, okay, you studied that well. The darkness serves the light if you are conscious. And it went on to get the whole quote until God said, okay, you've got it now. But I studied every line for over 5 years. And then we have a good friend who is a Tibetan Buddhist, Dawa Torshin, who came over and he looked at the book and he laughed and he says, so God gave you the quote? I went, yes. He goes, this is one of the most famous Buddhist quotes that there is. And he said, he read it. He goes, samskaras serve the light. Samskaras serve the Dharma, if you are conscious. Samskaras are just samskaras if you are unconscious. And I fell over. I said, well, that was good confirmation. Thank you. I'll tell God that he got it right.
Absolutely. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you very much for sharing that as well. Thank you, both of you. Now, the book is available from all good bookstores, Amazon, and every other type of bookstore internationally as well, as far as I can see. Well, you know what, guys? I'd just like to say thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a complete pleasure to have you both on.
Thank you. It's been a joy to be here with you, and thank you for all of your good work in serving our planet and everyone to come together, because it's now time for all of us to come together and support each other in this awakening. So we're so happy you're out there. Thank you for having us.
Well, we've come to an end on tonight's show. Don't forget that you can listen and watch all our past interviews on the More Show's official YouTube channel. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for new daily shows. You may also find out more on our past and upcoming guests on the show via themoreshow.com, and do like us on Facebook and Twitter for the latest updates. So until next time, be safe.